You're listening to the Patriot Nation Podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation Podcast. As always, a proud member of the CLNS group of podcasts. Make sure you download and subscribe to all of those shows to get great Patriots content every day. Today, we are not doing Patriots content, maybe a little Patriots content, a little bit more than normal, but we're doing our fantasy football preview, and we are joined by the GOAT. You love him. You know him. You love him. He's an NFL analyst for Fantasy Alarm. He hosts a show on Sirius XM. And last year was the FSWA Football Writer of the Year. That's Andrew Cooper. Coop, thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me, dude. And of course, you know, we got the sharpest fans here in New England, so had to bring the trophies home, dude. Of course, we got the Writer of the Year here, New England Patriots, baby. Let's go. I got the Ty Law jersey out today for the special occasion. So I'm going to take my right now, I will wear my Homer hat briefly and say go Pats. Now I will take it off and put on my unbiased fantasy analyst hat on, and we'll talk a little fantasy.
Yes, that's correct. That is correct. And by the way, listen, and before we even get started on this, it's okay to be a homer in fantasy to an extent, right? To an extent, it's okay. Please don't draft Trevion Henderson in the first round. Please don't take Drake May in the first round, unless maybe if it's a super flex, we can talk about that. But but outside of that, pump the brakes a little bit, okay? On the homer stuff, it's fun to have some players. Fantasy football is about fun at the end of the day, so have some fun with it. But let's not go crazy with Patriots, please.
You don't need to be drafted. You don't necessarily need to be drafting Efton Chisholm.
Right.
Yet. Hey, keep him on your watch list, though. We'll keep him on the watch list.
Just in case. You never know.
Just in case, yeah. I find that in my home leagues, I do end up getting less Patriots. It's funny, the industry leagues, I do get Drake May because I believe in him both as a fan and for fantasy. But in my home leagues, I never get any of them. The boys get too excited. So I totally get it. But yeah, just try and be unbiased where you can. That's what we'll do today.
Right. Exactly. So no, I feel the same way. It's when I play against people that aren't from New England, I'm like, I actually have a chance to get some Patriots. Then when I play against New England guys, I'm like, I get no shot. There's no way. I'm gonna have to overdraft. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it.
Not doing it.
So we'll see. I actually have a dynasty startup draft next week. And I'm like, it's super flex. I'm like, I have no idea what we're going to do here. And then I'm like, I have the 5th overall pick. And I'm like, there's 4 quarterbacks that I really like at the top. And then I'm like, I don't know who to take. I could take Jalen Hurts. I could talk myself into taking Drake May at number 5. I could do it. I could do it.
It's not crazy, dude. It's not. It really, in super flex, it's really not, man. Just to hit on that real quick, I did a little study. And every quarterback over the last 10 years that ran 5 times a game. Not crazy, right? That's 85 carries. So every quarterback that got 85 carries and played 16 games finished top 10 in fantasy football. And if you expand that to 20 years, there's only one example of a guy not finishing as a QB1. It was Colin Kaepernick one year. Just had a very strange season. But, you got seasons from guys like Vince Young on there, guys like Tyrod Taylor, Daniel Jones, where they aren't even particularly good, but if you are willing to run, then you are going to finish as a QB1. And Drake May last year, no designed runs, right? Alex Van Pelt straight up said, well, why would we do designed runs? We're 3-11. And you bring in Josh McDaniel, who, had Cam Newton run 137 times. I know he's not Cam Newton, but the floor for Drake May is very good. So we can start off with one homer-ish take, but it's, well researched that if we expect this guy to run 5 times a game, which he was running 5 times a game last year on scrambles alone, he's got a pretty good floor. So Drake May, it's not crazy, especially in Dynasty where you'll have him forever.
Yeah. And that's the big thing, I think. And quarterbacks, I think, and we'll talk about it as we get through the draft, quarterbacks are valued strangely because if you're not focused on fantasy football and you're focused on actual football, quarterbacks are like the only thing that people talk about because you have to have the great quarterback, and in order to win, you have to have that guy. Fantasy football, if you're playing in a regular league with one quarterback, that is just not the case. Like, you could have a great quarterback that can help you, but if you overdraft that quarterback, you're going to miss on running backs, and wide receivers are going to give you a huge advantage, and you actually hurt your team by overdrafting a quarterback.
It's true, man. It's absolutely true. It's that positional scarcity, right? And the other part that people miss is that, like, quarterbacks that are good in fantasy football, they don't even necessarily have to be good in real life. Like, whenever Justin Fields plays, he's a good fantasy quarterback. Not a good real life quarterback, hasn't been a winner. I mean, the biggest disparity is probably Kyler Murray, right? Like, not people say he's not a winner, he's not a leader, but the guy's QB8 all time in fantasy points per game because he runs around and
right.
does things. So it's, you gotta separate the two here for sure.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, those guys that you may not like end up being pretty good fantasy quarterbacks.
Exactly. Yeah.
So all right. Without further ado, let's get into it. What we're going to do today, just for people that haven't watched any of my shows before here, or fantasy specials here, we're going to do a mock draft. Okay, and during the mock draft, we're going to talk about obviously the players that we're going to pick, but Coop and I are going to talk about strategies you can employ, players that we like at different positions, whether they're there or gone, whatever the case may be. I like to try to pick somewhere in the middle. So I gave us pick 5. It's in the middle, but it's close to the front because I'm curious about kind of that middle of the pack. Actually, let me ask your opinion. Do you think we should pick 5, or do you think we should pick like 7 or 8? Because then that gives us kind of the end of the first round.
So I think 5 is a great spot. I like it a lot. I actually have 6 guys I really like, and then a 7th player that I'm willing to take at 7 every single time. 8 is my least favorite spot to pick from. So if you guys are out there in a league, where you get to pick your spot, just sit down and make a list of the top guys that you feel really good about, and then pick the latest one of those picks, because it just makes your second round pick all that much better. So for me, when we're picking at 5, which is great, I can explain my thought process here, but that's how I always operate in those leagues where you have a say in the matter.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you said that, because now I'm switching our pick to 8th instead of 5th. Because this is what it's all about, right? This is what I'm trying to do here for people, and this happens to me. I'm sure it happens to you, Coop, too. Like, I get to a point in the draft, and I'm like, who the hell am I going to take? What am I going to do? Right. Yeah. And I think that, to put some stress on us here, especially where it's not a real team, we can talk through some of those things. Like, hey, I'm looking at the draft board right now, and I'm like, I don't like any of the guys on here, but who's the best option I can get here? So, I'm gonna shift this down to 8. We'll get the
shift this down, dude. Let's see if one of my guys gets there first of all, and I'll mention who I would take if they all went to.
All right,
so we can give people a good look.
All right, here we go. So we're going to put this up here. We're using Fantasy Pros today. Half PPR, just because I think that makes, I know a lot of people play full PPR. I play full PPR too, but a lot of people do that. But I think, it's valuable to do that. Okay, Malik Neighbors is there. So our first 7 picks went Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, and Christian McCaffrey. Are these your top 7 guys, or is Neighbors one of your top 7 guys?
Those are my top 7.
There you go.
Christian McCaffrey is the guy that I'm willing to take at 7. For me, unless they're currently hurt, I will fade guys who are currently hurt, but I do not play the guessing game of which healthy players will get hurt. We've tried that in the past. People a couple of years ago were drafting Jonathan Taylor over Christian McCaffrey because they thought McCaffrey would get hurt. Turns out McCaffrey didn't get hurt. He was the RB2 on the season, and Jonathan Taylor got hurt. Right. It's like, for me, I'm just going to do the research. I'm going to draft the best players if they're healthy, and then we're going to hope they don't get hurt. Like, why would you draft a worse player and then hope that guy doesn't get hurt? So for me, I have no problem.
Makes no sense. Yeah. Last year was interesting because McCaffrey, there was rumors swirling about him.
Exactly.
But nothing official was out. So, like, I had the one. Did I have the 1-1 in the draft? I think I had the 1-1 in the draft. And I took McCaffrey, and then found out that he was out for the year. Now, that was a risk because he hadn't played all preseason. So, that's a situation where he was hurt, but he was coming back, and we were all pretty confident he was, and then he didn't. Right? This is not that same situation. McCaffrey's healthy. He's playing. He's practicing. He's ready to go. Like that. This is not last year.
Exactly. So I'm in on that. I will mention, just from the guys that already went, one thing that I have exactly how it went on here is I do actually have CeeDee Lamb ahead of Justin Jefferson. For me, I know, Justin Jefferson is an awesome player, but so is CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb had a year with 400 PPR points, the third best season of all time, just the year before last. And for me, the difference is that, with Lamb, it's just him. It's Dak Prescott. Conditions are virtually the same. With JJ McCarthy, I do think JJ McCarthy can be good, but just that amount of uncertainty is enough to split hairs at the top. Not to mention, there's actually only been one game where Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson all played more than 75% of the snaps in the same game. As crazy as that sounds,
that's crazy.
Someone's always been hurt. Someone's always been suspended. TJ Hawkinson was slow to get ramped up last year. We're going to start the first three weeks this year with no Addison too. So we won't see it till week 4, but we've never really seen it. So that's where I'm at. With this pick though, the options are Malik Neighbors, Puka Nacua, Nico Collins, Amon-Ra St. Brown. For me, I am not scared of going Ashton Genty here if we wanted to do that, if we wanted to get crazy. But I think the safe and prudent pick, I know he's dealing with the toe issue, would be Malik Neighbors. I mean, this guy came out, just had an insane volume season last year. I do think that Russell Wilson, can get him the football. If not, Jameis Winston comes in, and that's even better for fantasy football, right?
Yes.
I guess worst case scenario would be like they go all the way to Jackson Dart and he doesn't look good down the stretch, but he's the safest player here. Nakua, don't mind him, but Stafford's he's just getting back now from the back issue. Nico Collins is another safe one. If this were full PPR, I would go with Amon-Ra St. Brown potentially, but I think Neighbors is the pick here, unless you want to go Genty.
No, you know what? It's not that I don't like Genty. I think Genty's gonna be really good, but it scares me a little bit.
Scary, yeah.
It scares me a little bit. And there's a question in the chat that we're going to talk about in round 2 because I think it's more pertinent to round 2 than it is round 1. But the Genty thing worries me just a little. As a rookie running back, and listen, rookie running backs have crushed it, especially in the last few years, right? All the way back to Zeke Elliott, if you want to go all the way back to that. But it's still, maybe he'll be great, and he certainly has all the opportunities to be great. But I don't know what his offensive line is really. I don't feel great about that offensive line there, and so that worries me that he doesn't have that line in front of him. His receiving core is like fine, but not great. That worries me as well. So I don't know, if they're going to stack the box and then you don't have the offensive line to protect you. And then it's like, he's running 100 times, but who cares,
And we've seen great players not be great as rookies. I mean, look at guys like Melvin Gordon. I don't even think he scored a touchdown as a rookie, but he turned out to be a great running back. But it's just he got eased into the situation a little bit. There's a bit of a learning curve. CeeDee Lamb as a rookie wasn't even a full-time player. Trey McBride wasn't even the starter. Like sometimes rookies play like rookies. So and again, like we said, we're looking for certainty here. Malik Neighbors offers probably the most certainty. But now you get why I don't like pick 8 if it goes the way I think, because it's not even that I don't like these guys. It's that I would happily take any of them. So I'd much rather get a better shot at getting 2 of them, because we're going to take Neighbors now, and then all these guys are going to go off the board, and someone's going to get 2 of these guys. Right.
Well, and that's ultimately what it comes down to, right? Is that, and I think the point is so valid, that you want to be in that top 7 to get one of those elite players.
Right.
Or you want to be at like 10 or 11 to get 2 of these second tier guys, right? You're at 8 and you're going to get one of these second tier guys, which is good, but you're probably not going to get another one because they're all going to go in between you. And now you're just sitting here like, well, that's great. I missed out on a second guy,
Exactly. Think about that. So say I like Genty and I like these 4 wide receivers. We pick 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Which means all 5 of these guys are available. I could have got any one of these guys, and like Derrick Henry is my next guy. You know what I mean? So but if you can pick, take one of those top 7 or take 11 or 12, it's pretty good year to pick at that swing too.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, let's take Neighbors and let's see what happens into this second round here.
There they go. There they all go.
Yeah, as you projected, although Nico went right before us. So it was Puka, Genty, Amon-Ra, Drake London, who I think is an interesting play this year, Brian Thomas Jr., Derrick Henry, Devon Achane, and Nico Collins. I do want to, because he asked about it here, does the calf strain move Achane down? I don't know if it's Achane or Achane. I don't know.
It's Achane. Yeah, he did
That's what
come
I
out and
thought.
tell everybody, because everyone was saying Achane. Achane would have been so much cooler.
Right.
I'm not
I
gonna lie,
agree.
right? It's like it's just a cooler sounding name, right? But
does the calf strain move him down a bit for you?
So yeah, I for me, yes, because I was like, so again, we're splitting hairs here where it's like, I'm like, oh great, do I take Derrick Henry? Do I take Devon Achane? In half PPR, I was already taking Henry over him just because Achane is much better in full PPR. The one thing that really for that is going for Achane is that last year he ran the most routes from the slot that a wide receiver has run since David Johnson in 2016. They just put him, they use so much motion that they're moving these guys around and they just move him into the slot and throw him the ball. That's why he got 87 targets. So for me, I'm not really worried about him rushing for 1,000 yards. Alvin Kamara's never run for 1,000 yards. Neither is Austin Eckler. I care about the receptions, but in standard or half PPR, especially now that he's banged up, you know, Teron Armstead retired. Like the team is starting to look and sound like a bit of a dumpster fire. It's just, it's not a super appealing. It's starting to have more red flags than green ones. So yeah, I and again, thank you very much for moving us to the 8 spot, because like literally every player once again that I like went. Now I will say with this board up here, for folks just listening, the top name here is Brock Bowers, right? And you would think that me being like the big tight end enthusiast, I would be on this pick, but I really don't take him much in the second round. When you and the thing is, I don't even think it's a bad pick, but just know what you're betting. For Brock Bowers to be worth a second round pick, you're betting that he has a top 10 all-time season at the tight end position for fantasy football. And it sounds like a crazy bet, but it's really not, because anything over 300 points is a top 10 all-time season. The only guys that have been worth a second round pick to actually been picked there and justify the pick, not guys coming out of the woodwork and having crazy seasons, are 3 seasons from Travis Kelce, where he scored over 300 PPR points. 2011 Rob Gronkowski. And make sure, Patriots fans out there, make sure you have this stat in your back pocket. The number 1 all-time fantasy season by a tight end is Rob Gronkowski. 330 PPR points the year he scored 18 touchdowns, 17 receptions, and 1 rushing touchdown. So make sure you keep that in mind. But think about that. 330 PPR points. I know we're doing half PPR, but 333 PPR points is the best all time. Last year, Jamar Chase scored 400. The year before that, CeeDee Lamb scored 400. For me, I just have a big list of guys that I think can be the number 1 flex player, and I got to take those guys before I take a tight end or quarterback. And there's still guys on the board here that I like better. I'd rather have A.J. Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs. I do really like Jonathan Taylor in half PPR at this spot.
I think so too. I'm big on Taylor this year as well. Obviously, Chase Brown's there, but again, these guys I'm not necessarily taking right now, Brown or Irving, but I like AJ Brown, and even like Ladd and JSN, I'm probably not taking in this spot yet. I think you could make the argument for Taylor and Jacobs over both.
Right,
Ladd and JSN. I love JSN, and Ladd's great, but Taylor's just really good. And I probably, if it were up to me, that would probably be my pick here.
Let's do it. Let's go Taylor. And again, I do like AJ Brown a lot. Had we gone Genty in the first round, I might go AJ Brown here just to have a little more balance. I do think and again, this goes back to the NFL football versus fantasy football argument, because if I asked you if Jalen Hurts played well last year, you would say, yes, of course. He won the Super Bowl. He was a Super Bowl MVP.
Right.
But he only threw for 2,900 yards.
Correct.
Right? It's like they just didn't have to. They had a running back that was trying to set records, right? Like they were steamrolling teams. So for me, I do think they threw the fewest passes of any team in the league last year, which is a luxury of the winning team, but it's not great for fantasy football. So, and again, it's not great for the wide receivers that Jalen Hurts has an automatic touchdown play from 1 yard out. It's like once they get inside 5 yards, the tush push and Saquon Barkley, there's no reason to throw a jump ball to AJ Brown.
100%. I think it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt Jalen Hurts. No pun intended. Didn't hurt him, right? But it did hurt guys like AJ Brown.
Right.
It did hurt guys like Devonta Smith. Like when you're not throwing the ball, Hurts is running a billion times from the 1 yard line. So he's fine. He has that insurance and that protection. AJ Brown doesn't have that protection. And so that, that worries me. I mean, listen, I'll still take AJ Brown if I have to. Like he's a good player. He's going to put up big numbers, but like there are other guys I like over.
Yeah. And my point on that is that, last year, AJ Brown, he was solid. And this year, I think they've regressed towards more passing. Right. Like I don't think it's going to go as perfectly for them. I do think they have to throw more. I did put in a little bet on Jalen Hurts over 3,200 passing yards. I don't really do a ton of gambling, but like that one to me, I was like, this is too obvious for me.
Yeah.
So I do think AJ Brown's a good pick this year. I think he's going to be better than last year, but with Taylor there on the board, I think we got to go RB.
I agree. Before we go on to the next pick, it's just a question here. Keeper league, are you keeping Derrick Henry or Josh Allen? I assume that this is just a keeper before the draft and is not like a round, you lose the round and you drafted the guy in. Would you prefer Henry or Josh Allen?
Kyle, is there a round tied to this? My guess would be that he would have to keep Derrick Henry as his first or second round pick, and you would be keeping Josh Allen as a third round pick.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I would keep if you can just keep the guy at whatever level, I would keep Derrick Henry. But if it's like if you have to give up like a first for Henry or like a third for Josh Allen, so it's exactly that situation. So I would actually keep Josh Allen in the third then.
Which I think makes sense.
If you can keep Derrick, because the thing is, you can get Derrick Henry in the second. You can just draft him in the first, but in a keeper league, you're like because of how many guys are being kept, you're probably not going to get Josh Allen in the third. So that's kind of how I play that.
Yeah.
First and third. There you go.
Yeah. So I think that makes sense. Yeah. I would absolutely keep Allen if that were the case. Again, it's really a no-brainer if you don't have to give up the round, right? If you're just choosing a guy, it's Derrick Henry, right?
Derrick Henry, yeah.
But
the thing is, like you might even end up in a situation where you're on the clock in the first round and you wouldn't have picked Henry there. You would have picked somebody else. Whereas with Josh Allen in the third round, you're going to feel good about that pick in a keeper league, no matter.
Especially with 12 guys already gone, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 12 guys. Sounds like, 12 guys already gone. So, it's going to be a good pick.
Yeah. All right, let's take Taylor here in the second round. So now we have hold on, sorry. Now we have taken who the heck did we take in the first round?
We took Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors, that's right. Yeah, so we took a quarterback and a running back and a wide receiver. All right, so off the board after us went Bucky Irving, Brock Bowers, Josh Jacobs, AJ Brown, Ladd, Trey McBride, Chase Brown. And then the third round is our quarterbacks, Lamar, Kyron Williams, Josh Allen, and then it went Tyreek, JSN, T. Higgins, and Marvin Harrison Jr. I feel like JSN was drafted significantly later. Well, maybe not significantly later. I would have
really liked the computer's really teasing us here because I would have really liked to get JSN or Marvin Harrison.
Yeah,
I'm glad we don't have to make the Tyreek Hill decision because that is a pick that I'm scared of it, but I'm also scared not to do it. Right. That guy has the highest ceiling, but also the lowest floor. Like if I had to pick, if I had to pick a player from this round to have 1,700 yards, I would pick him. Right. If you ask me which player is most likely to quit on the team mid-season or retire, I would also pick him. Right.
It's so true. Yeah. It's so funny.
If you ask me which guy would be like most likely to be arrested and kicked out of the league, I would pick him. It's right. Right. But on the flip side, the guy is so damn good. Yeah. He's just so good at football, So
Miami's really such a strange situation this year. Robert Mays tweeted something out about they're doing an AFC's preview, and he's like, Miami Dolphins, I have no idea. And I commented, I was like, I honestly feel like they could make the playoffs or they could get the number one pick, and I wouldn't be surprised by either outcome. I have no idea what is going on with that team this year. They could pull it all together and be fine. They could be an absolute dumpster fire, and their whole team is terrible. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It's for real, though. It's they're the most fragile team as well in terms of injuries. I mean, it's like Tyreek Hill and Waddle both got hurt. Waddle gets hurt every year. Tua's got the concussion issues. Darren Waller has not even played football yet. Devon Achane. Tyreek Hill is calling out Devon Achane for being too small, to the media.
It's crazy.
It is really is a nightmare team for fantasy. So, and for real life. So good for them.
Yeah. Yep. As a Patriots fan, you love to see it. So
love to see it. let's click on the. So for those just listening, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle, Mike Evans, Jaden Daniels are the top selections here. Not
Yes.
sure I really love those. I do worry about Garrett Wilson. On one hand, he's like the only show in town. But if you go and look at the props for quarterbacks, every quarterback with a book like MGM Bets has, or BetMGM has, a over-under passing yard total set at 3,200, except for one. That's Justin Fields.
Yikes.
A minimum of 3,200. Some of these guys are at 4,000. Guess where Fields is set?
2,400.
Dude, good guess. It was 2,450 last I checked.
Jesus.
So I mean, yeah. So they're basically predicting, that is a prediction that Justin Fields will fail, which is, it's wild. So for me, I have a hard time taking pass catchers from a team like that. Let's click the RB tab and see who's
Yeah, let's take a look.
I love Kenneth Walker this year. Can we get him next round is my question.
Well, so this is the quick turnaround, right? Because we're at 8, and then we're going to be picking at 5 the next round. Or no, 4.
Yeah, I would love to get one of Walker or Kamara here in the next round. Actually,
Yeah.
That's the thing is I'd like to take one of those here. I don't love taking James Cook, oddly enough. When I looked at, so I pull up all the usage for all these guys, and I break it down into the 5 different parts of being a running back. Starting, pass downs, goal line, 2-minute drill, which I consider different than pass downs, and then a late lead. Saquon Barkley led his team in every one of those. He scored 40 extra PPR points when the team was up by 2 scores in the fourth quarter.
It's crazy.
James Cook, the only one of those categories he led in was starting. He split carries with Josh Allen at the goal line. Ty Johnson played more pass downs. Ty Johnson took the 2-minute drill, and Ray Davis got more carries in the fourth quarter when they were up. So they really, he was living on touchdowns kind of alone. And that does scare me a little bit. Let's hit that wide receiver tab. I'm also not opposed to taking George Kittle here.
Well, I was going to ask you about tight end as well, but let's take a look at the wide receivers: Wilson, Evans, Devontae Adams, and Terry McLaurin.
I love Devontae Adams. It's an odds game. I wish we could see is there a way to see the overall and see kind of
right here. So they have Devontae at 36 overall.
Okay. So if this were my team, and it kind of is, I would take Devontae Adams here, and then just take whoever's there. Just cross our fingers and hope one of Kamara or
Kenneth Walker, right? Drops to
George Kittle to me should be closer to Brock Bowers and Trey McBride than he goes. He's a auto smash pick in the 4th round for me.
Yeah.
I just feel like tight end is one of those positions where we can use it to create leverage later, right? Like we can use it to, a tight end has come from tight end 18 in ADP or later in 13 straight seasons to finish top 5. So the sleeper tight ends are there. Also, this year more than ever, I like the back end tight end 1 range. Guys like Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Evan Engram in his new setup, the Joker role over there. Even David Njoku, I know it's kind of a QB clown car in Cleveland as always, but
they have no receivers.
I think we can make tight end work later. So let's do Adams here. This is a guy that has averaged 10 targets a game for 7 straight seasons.
It's wild.
He was and Sean McVay actually put together a whole highlight.
That was such a great clip. Such a great clip.
And sent it to him. And then when he got him there, he showed the whole team. He was like, this is the guy we just got. Let's all just sit here and watch how excellent this guy is. Yeah. And this is also a player that he cares about his legacy and his stats. There was a quote from him one time after a Raiders win where he said, if it don't look right to me, then I'm going to say something. And I care about my legacy. He goes, what I care about is greatness. So I need to be getting the ball more, which any other person says that after a win and we kill him. But Devontae Adams is such a legend. He's so good that we're like, that actually checks out. Like you should be getting the ball more. Right. So that's the guy I want. That's the guy I want on my fantasy team.
All right, let's do it. Devontae Adams. Here we go. Yeah. The Stafford thing worries me a little bit, but
he's back. He's back out there practicing. So we'll get away with it. The other thing I want to mention is that we don't, and people don't like this take, but we don't know for sure that Puka Nacua will get more targets than Devontae Adams. He's letting Devontae Adams go through all the drills first as the wide receiver 1. He gave him his number, and picture this, like as Patriots fans, let's say the whole world believes that Puka Nacua is the quote unquote wide receiver one for that team. When the Patriots, if they were going to face the Rams, who do they put Christian Gonzalez on? Right? Is it good? He's the wide receiver one, right? He's going to be covering Puka Nacua, or is he going to cover Devontae Adams?
Right.
Like it is a conundrum. And if Puka Nacua is being treated like the top wide receiver, then Devontae Adams, for the first time maybe in his entire career, is going to face the second best cornerback for some of these teams. The Rams could be a nightmare for teams this year if Stafford is healthy.
It's true. It's very true. It's a great point.
Right.
All right, let's see. Went Jaden Daniels, Breece Hall, James Cook, George Kittle, Kenneth Walker, Omarion Hampton, Joe Burrow, and Garrett Wilson. So that does leave us with your Alvin Kamara if you wanted Kamara. Now, he does have the same bye week as the other running back that we've already drafted. So here's this little thing, right? Same bye week as Jonathan Taylor. I don't necessarily care so much about that. I do worry that it's week 11. Worries me a little bit because that's like the last game before you get into the playoffs. But
I'd rather have that, to be honest, because you can, if your team is playing poorly and you feel it coming, then you can trade, and it makes it easier to trade, to say, because like people are always skeptical of you when you come to them with a trade, but that actually gives you a little bit of leverage to say, hey, here's what's happening. My guys both have a bye week. My team, I can't lose any more games. You're getting a deal here. It actually makes it easier to trade. So I don't mind with bye weeks. I only care about bye weeks if it's a league where I'm taking 2 quarterbacks or 2 tight ends. That's where I'm like, okay, I can't. If both my quarterbacks have the same bye, now I need a third one.
Correct.
So I'm not.
That makes sense. Yeah, I agree with you there.
I really wanted Kenneth Walker here. I love Clint Kubiak's scheme. I'm not going to take up too much time on the topic, but check out, just Google Fantasy Alarm Kenneth Walker. I did a whole write-up with GIFs of Kubiak's scheme and how his zone blocking works, and also how he pivots to gap blocking. So basically, he's incredible in that. He runs a zone, and then if you put like 6 guys on the line, he'll just hit you with a gap or man scheme and have a pulling guard or a wham block. And it's just, he's a genius, Clint Kubiak is, when it comes to running. So I'm very excited for Walker. But Kamara, I mean, he was on pace for his first 1,000-yard season last year before he got hurt. Kellen Moore knows what he's doing, so Kamara is going to be a good player no matter what.
I like that. I'm actually happy about that. On the Scott Fish Bowl, I took both Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Yes. So I was pumped about that. I was happy.
How you do it, man. In a league like that, like not every league has enough bench space to handcuff, but that's a 22-round league for those that aren't familiar with the Scott Fish Bowl. So yeah, that's how you do that.
And I think I got him in like round. I think I got Charbonnet in like round 11 or something like that. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, all right, here we go. Or 10 maybe. It was a good deal for me.
Yeah, you guys drafting out there how was it drafting on the porch there?
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. We had a blast.
I think we're going back to Boston next year. Okay. We're going to try and do like a little rotation. So I think we're going back to the big city next year. But I did like having it at Gillette.
That was really, I mean, just having the stadium as the backdrop of the draft was really cool. You know, and most of us there, not everyone, but most of us there are Patriots fans, right? So the fact that like we're there at Gillette doing it, was pretty cool.
It was special. That was the whole plan, to get one in, because I know people want the thing. You know why we're going back is that there were a couple people that couldn't come because they don't drive. So we're just going to get,
totally get it, and it's not easy to get to, right? Yeah. Like Gillette is not a place that's a simple place to get to. Now I live 4 miles away, so it's very easy for me to get to.
Me too. That's why I was picking the location this year. I was like, yeah, that sounds great to me.
Yeah, but it's like most people, it's like, especially if you're traveling from out of town, like Boston's easy to get to. Everything else, not so much. Especially where you can take the commuter rail right there, but like, what time does the commuter rail get in on a Sunday morning? It's
exactly. Yeah. That's a exclusive here on the CMS network, dude. That has not been announced yet. That has not been announced. So a little exclusive for you guys. The Scott Fish Bowl Boston will be back in Boston again next year.
All right. I like that. All right. Before we take Alvin Kamara, do we think there's any chance that we take Mike Evans instead?
I mean,
I just feel like Mike Evans, he's just good every year. Like, you can pencil him in for a wide receiver, at least 2 at the absolute worst every year, I feel like.
Yeah. Pull up the RBs again.
Yeah.
Just to see, let's do a little scrolling here. Because
Yeah, so it's Kamara, Hubbard, Connor, and then Travion. And if you go over here,
so we're not going to get any of this.
After Travion is David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard, RJ Harvey, Pacheco, Aaron Jones.
See, I do like taking a risk on Harvey, but that's my problem. Is it gets real ugly at running back before it does at wide receiver. There are some later wide receivers that I do like a little more. So I definitely am in on Mike Evans. I mean, once again, go to the sports books. Guess where they have his yardage total set at for the year?
Well, it's got to be 1,000. Has to be.
It's 1,000.
He hasn't gone under 1,000 in his career. So
he's done it every year, and they set it at 1,000. Which, I mean, if you look at guys like Garrett Wilson, he said at 925. A lot of these guys are like, I mean, it's just they just pencil that in, And now Chris Godwin's banged up. He hasn't even started running yet. You've got Jalen McMillan, not sure if you saw, but he's got a neck issue where they've already said he will not be ready week 1. Like, it's gonna be Evans and that kid Emeka Egbuka, and that's it to start. So I'm kind of selling myself.
I know.
Let's take Kamara.
And we're gonna take Kamara, but someone asked about Henderson here. If you went Evans, would you try to go Henderson the next round in round 5?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But he won't be there because we pick it. This stupid pick.
Yeah, because we pick at 8. So it's going to be.
So it's going to go all the way back and down. The thing with Henderson also is that just keep in mind, Henderson, he's a great player. We believe in the team. This team over under set at 8.5 wins, obviously much better than the team that won 3 games and then was given a game by the Bills last year. Right. But keep in mind that he's very likely to be a much better player in full PPR than he is the other formats because, Ramondre is still going to play some. They could still do the classic Patriots 1-2 punch, Corey Dillon and Kevin Falk, Stephen Ridley and Danny Woodhead, right? Go back through time. LeGarrette Blount and James White.
Yep.
It's like they could just do that, but James White got 123 targets one year, right? Like we see David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs on a good team have no problem with that. And this guy's so explosive that he's going to have big plays too. I love Henderson in best ball for that. And I also love him in PPR. But in half or standard, I don't feel the need to push it to reach for him. I just hope he's there.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you.
Like if we take Kamara and he's there next round, we're going to take him anyway, right?
100%. But your point, though, is so valid about, and I think that this is a lot of times what people struggle with, and I know I struggle with this stuff too, where it's like, I like Mike Evans more than I like Alvin Kamara. So I would be inclined to take Mike Evans over Alvin Kamara because I like him better. However, when you're building a roster,
right,
Evans is going to start for you and Kamara is going to start for you. That's true. But Kamara has to start for you. You need another running back that's going to start. If you don't take Kamara here and 16 picks are going to go by, right, before we draft again, and so now we're looking at saying, well, that's too much. I'm never going to be able to get a real running back if I don't take Alvin Kamara in this spot. And so I'm going to be upset that I lose out on Mike Evans, but I'm going to be able to get someone that's at least approaching what Mike Evans' value is, where I'm never going to get close to what Kamara can give me.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, since we're going the hard route, we've switched to pick 8. Let's take Mike Evans and go the hard route here. And let's see what it looks like,
All right, let's do it.
Because it's not it's a very valid decision, and I do try and take in my opinion best player available early on, and then I figure it out later. So let's take Evans here, and we'll figure it out.
All right, here we go. I like that. All right, so Mike Evans is the pick.
There goes Kamara. There goes everybody. Yeah,
all of them. All the running backs. They knew that we had taken. We were banking on a wide receiver on a running back too. So all right, so it was DK, Jalen Hurts, Terry McLaurin, Kamara, Hubbard, DJ Moore, Henderson, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, Rashee Rice,
scary pick.
I don't know what I'm so frustrated with what they're doing, the NFL, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose. But James Conner, Isaiah Pacheco, and David Montgomery. So the problem is this.
And Jamal Williams, Jamison Williams at the very bottom there.
And Jamison Williams at the very bottom, yes. So we took We took Mike Evans because we liked Mike Evans better. In between this pick and our round 5 pick, 6 running backs went.
Yeah. Well,
Right. So now we're 7 running backs later, and the top running back on the board is RJ Harvey. Now we can take a risk on RJ Harvey, and that's a big risk to take on RJ Harvey, a rookie. But then it's DeAndre Swift, and then it's Tony Pollard, and then it's Aaron Jones. And I don't love any of those guys.
Right. I do like taking the risk on Harvey. And now go back to the wide receiver tab. I mean, there were wide receivers I like later, but I mean, right here we could have gone safe, very safe with Devonta Smith or Zay Flowers. We could have gone with high risk, high reward rookie Ted McMillan, who is going to obviously be the number 1 target for that team. It's like
even Xavier Worthy, I think he's gonna do really well in Kansas City this year. I think, at least in my opinion.
The sneaky things about guys like Xavier Worthy and Jamison Williams that evade a lot of the spreadsheet people too is that these guys get a meaningful number of carries as well. Yeah. Like we're talking double-digit carries for both these guys. That's not going to stop. And with Worthy, I think it translated to like 100 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Like that, you're talking about. That's the difference between a wide receiver 3 and a wide receiver 2. 25 points, right? Like, so definitely a value there. With RJ Harvey, I'm willing to take him, especially in any sort of PPR format. I went back and looked, right? Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator for the Broncos, every team he's been a part of the staff for on offense for 18 years, every one of those teams was top 5 in passes to the running back group. Jeez. Every single one. Yeah. So we're talking, and again, he had great running backs for pass catching. So he had with the Chargers, he had Austin Eckler. With the Saints, he had Alvin Kamara. With the Lions, he brought over guys like Reggie Bush. They had Theo Riddick. But even last year, if you look at it, the Broncos were top 5 in passes to the running back group. They were spread out a little bit, but I mean, Javonte Williams was quietly top 5 in targets for running back. So they sat here and said, okay, Sean Payton and Joe Lombardi, they love having a running back that can be their Alvin Kamara joker, right? Go line up in the slot and run routes. They went and took this kid. This kid's 24 years old. He's a converted quarterback. He's a smart player. He's an explosive player. You don't take a 24-year-old running back if you're not going to play him right away. I think RJ Harvey has as much upside as any of these rookies outside of maybe Ashton Genty, who's just a freakazoid. But like this guy could be the next Austin Eckler or Alvin Kamara. He really could be. I was hoping from a fantasy standpoint that Travion Henderson would go to the Broncos because I think he's the best pass catching back in this class. I'm so glad that we got him. But for fantasy football, that would have been a match made in heaven. It would have been, yeah. I mean, like he would have been my number 2 RB behind Genty with a bullet. And if he went in the first round, there would have been arguments to be made that like it's too perfect of a situation to not. Yeah,
that he would be even over Genty. Yeah, especially in like a full PPR or something.
PPR,
like that.
Yeah. I mean, just because the conditions would have been so insanely perfect.
Yeah. All right, let's take RJ Harvey and roll with it. And this is one of those interesting things where you may feel like, you're looking at this saying like, hey, all right, I really like the fact that I have Neighbors, Adams, and Evans as my 3 wide receivers. Like that's huge for me, right? And I'm okay with the fact that I have RJ Harvey as my second running back because I feel really good about the first 4 of Taylor, Neighbors, Adams, and Evans. Like that's a really solid first 4. And if Harvey hits, and it's a good process. Like it's a research process to take RJ Harvey. You're not just taking a random guy to be like, oh, well, maybe he'll do good. Like there's precedent for him being a really solid running back. Now, will he be that true top 24 RB2? Like, I don't know. But at least you can project out and it's realistic to think that he could get to that point.
Right. And what we'll do now is that at some point we'll throw somebody on the bench that's quote unquote safe but boring. That if RJ Harvey takes time and he's not a starter right away, we can slide him in there. And after we make
Aaron Jones,
Aaron
Jones to me feels like that type of guy.
He would have been. He's a perfect guy if he's still there. I mean, this is the short swing, so maybe we can do that. And we would actually probably start Aaron Jones week 1 and just have Harvey as our like big upside play in our pocket because we've already filled all our 3 wide receiver spots. We're going to need a quarterback. We're going to need a tight end, and we're going to need a flex. But it's entirely possible to do like to balance upside and floor that way. So let's grab Harvey here.
Let's do it.
Let's see how many names come off the board. Joe Mixon.
Oh, he's still there. So it went Joe Mixon, Ted McMillan, or Ted Aroa McMillan. Sorry, Mom. Devonta Smith, George Pickens, Tony Pollard, Xavier Worthy, Calvin Ridley, and Sam Laporta. Calvin Ridley is a guy that I'm actually really high on Calvin Ridley this year. I think that, he sits out the year. He comes to Tennessee. He had like an okay year last year, but like not a great year. And like all the buzz around Tennessee is that Cam Ward can play, and his favorite player is Calvin Ridley, and that's his number one target. And if Cam Ward can play right out the gate, and Calvin Ridley can recapture some of that magic that he had in Atlanta, I could see Calvin Ridley being, a top 20 wide receiver. And if you're getting him in the 6th round or late in the 5th, depending on where you're picking, like, I think that's, a solid play. It's an upside play because I'm a little worried about his floor, but I really like the upside that Ridley has this year.
Yeah, he could be a wide receiver 1. Because this is, again, back to our comments early in the show about separating real life football from fantasy football. The knocks on Cam Ward are that he plays hero ball, right? That he holds onto the ball, that he tries to make crazy things happen. He tries to fit the ball into tight windows. And then that he's like, holding on the ball, looking to chuck the ball downfield. That might be bad for Titans fans, but I don't care if the Titans win in games at all.
Right.
Right? I care about fantasy. That actually sounds pretty good for fantasy, right? Like people are worried that he's going to be the next Jameis Winston or Ryan Fitzpatrick. And my mind immediately goes, great. That would be right. That would be great for fantasy football if he was just like back foot chucking it like Jay Cutler. If you throw a pick 6, you get the ball right back.
Correct.
So I'm fully on board with it, man. Calvin Ridley would have been a great pick for us there. DeAndre Swift here is an interesting one. And the thing is, there's all offseason, I expected this team to add another running back because Ben Johnson ran the split backfield in Detroit and it worked incredibly for them. And when you bring these guys in, you expect them to do what has worked for them. But, they had every opportunity to draft an Omarion Hampton or somebody. They had every opportunity to sign, someone. They could have traded for Jordan Mason. They didn't do it. So there is some smoke for guys like Roshan Johnson or the rookie Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers, but he's a 7th round pick. So even though I haven't historically been a Swift guy, I'm coming around on the idea. Where do you live on Swift, man?
Man, he just scares me because I feel like every year people are high on him and they're like, DeAndre Swift can be really good. And every year he sucks.
He was so bad. The first 3 games of the year last year, he was so brutally terrible.
Yeah.
He actually did end up having an okay season, but like he just, the hasty generalization of the early season always makes me think like Mark Andrews finished like tight end 7 and he scored 10 touchdowns in his last 11 games. But because he started so poorly, in our minds, we're like, that guy just had a terrible year.
Right. Isaiah Likely's taken over and, and Mark Andrews is done. Yeah.
Right. Mark Andrews scored 11 touchdowns. Like he was fine. And Isaiah Likely's stats at the end of the year looked, again, people hate when I point this out, but look at what Austin Hooper did last year and look at what Noah Gray did last year. And then look at Isaiah Likely's stats. Not really materially different. Especially considering I likely had that one really good game. Like if you take that one game away, Isaiah Likely was just Austin Hooper.
Yeah. Which, and I think obviously there's more upside for Likely than there is for Hooper, but
of course.
With Mark Andrews in front of him, like it stunts some of that,
It's not a pick I'm making. What's available for wide receivers? We don't have to.
We don't have to take a running back. You're right.
Yeah. I don't want to take a tight end here until Hawkinson goes. Then we can look at Kelsey and those guys.
Yeah. So you got Zay, Travis Hunter, Chris Olave, Jerry Jeudy.
Not interested. Not interested, really. I think this is the thing. This is why you just take best player available early, because I think taking Mike Evans, right? And again, you wanted him more than Kamara, and we took him. And now on this spot, I actually don't mind double tapping RB. Or let's see who's there for quarterback.
All right, let's take a look.
We can stack Mayfield with. I know stacking doesn't really. Oh, Mahomes.
Yeah, Mahomes, Mayfield, Bo Nix, and Kyler Murray.
Let's go late. Let's wait on QB too.
Yeah,
wait on it.
And then tight end here is Hawkinson, Andrews, Kelsey, and Njoku. And I like Hawkinson this year. I actually kept him in a league. I mean, he's an 11th round keeper, so it's not like but
no brainer.
But I kept him in a league. I like him this year, but I'm not like overextending to draft TJ Hawkinson. Like if he was there in the 7th, 8th round, sure, I'll take him.
Right.
But I'm not, 6th round is a little early for me. for Hawkins. I just don't know if he has the upward, trajectory. He could finish as a top 5 tight end. I could see it happening. But I don't necessarily. I'm not necessarily taking him as the 5th tight end off the board.
Yeah. Now, if you wanted to get crazy and go for pure upside, I do like Tyrone Tracy. I think that because we took Harvey, we should take Swift here. But
Yeah.
I do like Tyrone Tracy as an upside play. Reports are that it's not even a competition between him and Cam Scatabo. It's just Tracy's job.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Let's take Swift or Jones. Your call on that.
Oh boy.
I know.
Minnesota. Who the heck's Minnesota's backup running back?
So the concerns there are that Jordan Mason could take some of the early down work and goal line type work. But Aaron Jones last year quietly had more. So Justin Jefferson had the 2nd most yards of any wide receiver in the league. Aaron Jones had more yards from scrimmage last year.
It's wild. It's wild.
Let's take him. Let's take Jones.
Yeah.
I don't like Swift. I don't trust Swift.
I don't either. And if you're worried that Jordan Mason is going to take snaps away from Aaron Jones, I just I'm sorry. I can't help you.
I can't help you. Yeah. Take Aaron Jones. Yeah. And Aaron Jones, if he gets banged up, well, he's our 3rd running back. So
right.
We'll
Exactly.
figure it out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
All right, before I make this pick, I do have to do a quick ad read. So I'm going to jump into a quick ad read, and then we will come right back, and we'll probably only going to do a few more rounds here. We'll finish out the roster and maybe talk about some sleepers. But here we go here with our ad. Of course, our ad, as always, is for Prize Picks. Okay, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Preseason football is underway, and college football is here. So don't miss any of the action on this season on Prize Picks. Now, some of the guys that I'm excited about this year, we've talked about them here on the show: Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, even guys like Aaron Rodgers. I know Jalen Hurts is another interesting one as well that we've talked about. It's simple to play. Prize Picks, simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players' stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Now, what's great about Prize Picks is they put their members first. Withdrawals and deposits are fast, safe, and secure. Hello. They offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more. Quick and easy deposits in and out. Really simple. Okay? Now, here's what you're going to do. You're going to download the app Prize Picks. You're going to put in the promo code CLNS. When you play your first $5 lineup, you will get $50 instantly. All right. Again, download the app Prize Picks, put in the promo code CLNS. And when you play your first $5 lineup, you get $50 instantly. Prize Picks, run your game. Okay. All right. So let's take our Aaron Jones here. And then let's see who went. So Hawkinson did go. A bunch of receivers went. How do you feel about Travis Hunter this year?
I mean, it's one of those plays where, these are the guys that win leagues, but it's also could be just completely wasted pick. I'm happy that he's not going as high as like Marvin Harrison Jr. was last year. Marvin Harrison Jr. was going in the 2nd round. He definitely didn't pay that off. Yeah. Travis Hunter, I mean, he's an explosive, incredible player. The thing is, he's also a fairly raw talent. Like in college, he was working out mostly with the defensive groups. He didn't even go to the offensive meetings. So it could be a bit of a learning curve here, but they have things set up perfectly for him to be a top dog. I mean, who's the next best wide receiver after Brian Thomas Jr.? De'Ami Brown. Right. Brenton Strange isn't going to out target him. So I don't mind taking that pick, but it has to be the right build for us. Like, I agree with you. Yeah, here we could have taken him with our 3 wide receivers because he'd be our flex, but if we had gone the Kamara route, then we have him commit. I don't like having him as my wide receiver too. I'll tell you that.
I would agree. I don't mind taking him in the 6th round or even in the 7th round, which it looks like he went late 6, late 6, early 7. I don't hate that. Again, depending on the build, right? Depending on the fact that, okay, I already have wide receivers I like. He's my flex guy. I don't hate that, right? And again, he has upside, which is good, Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see. Hawkinson, Zay Flowers, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Hunter, who we just talked about, Rome Odunze, DeAndre Swift, Kelsey, and then Tracy, Judkins, oh God, Jerry Jeudy, Caleb Johnson, Chris Olave, and Bo Nix. And so here we are. We do have the quick turn here. This is our 7-8 turn. So it is quick. We go from the 8th pick to the 5th. It's not that quick, but
yeah. Let's look at wide receiver here.
Yeah, let's take a look at the wide receivers because this is where it could get interesting. Oh boy.
Dude, we got to take Stephon Diggs, right? We got to take him here. Guy was on pace for nearly 100 receptions last year.
Yeah.
He's already back, looking good. I'm thinking, dude, now that Kyler Murray and Bo Nix are gone, and this is a Patriots podcast, I'm really thinking that maybe we should do a Diggs, Drake May build here.
I kind of like that.
He's our wide receiver 4. He's a wide receiver 4. So,
yep.
I mean, he goes right in the flex for us. Like, that makes us our life so simple because, like, now we can actually, if we want for week 1, put RJ Harvey on the bench. Like, he's our high-risk, high-reward play. Aaron Jones in the lineup. Stephon Diggs is in the flex. And we get, like, a free look at what could be a monster breakout. And if it doesn't hit, our team isn't ruined.
Right. I actually really like that a lot. I think that Diggs – and listen, we're biased. We're Patriots fans, right? Like, but if you're listening to this, you're probably a Patriots fan too. I feel like for me, when I look at Diggs, I see a guy that was a wide receiver 1 before, right? Was trending towards that wide receiver 1 last year, and then got hurt. And his ability to get back so quickly, I feel like, is impressive. He's looked impressive out there. He's looked like the best receiver on the field.
How many days of camp have you been to? I know you've been pretty much
almost every one of them. I missed a few, but almost every one of them. And he's looked solid. The route running is so crisp. It's so pure. Like, he just gets open. And Drake May clearly trusts him and wants to get him the ball. I just think, I'd be surprised if he's not their wide receiver 1. This year, and I look at the other guys that are there. First of all, Jordan Addison, staying away from Jordan Addison until the end. I'm not taking Jordan. He's suspended the first 3 games. I have no idea what the offense is going to look like. JJ McCarthy, I think, should be good, but I don't know. There's a lot of question marks about that. But you're guaranteed to miss Jordan Addison for the first 3 games, no matter what, regardless of what happens after that. So
it's incredibly rare to have 3 guys on the same team all be on a 100 target pace at the same time.
Right.
It just virtually never happens. According to Pro Football Focus, it hasn't happened in the last 2 years. No team has had 3 guys all get 100 targets. Yeah. So it's just,
and with the amount that they throw now, you would think that it would happen once or twice, and it hasn't.
It just doesn't happen. Yeah. So, and again, Ricky Pearsall, the concern I have for Pearsall, he's a great player, but that team uses the fullback and they use the blocking tight end so much that it becomes a 2 wide receiver offense. And what happens if Ayuk comes back healthy and he ends up the third fiddle? He could end up being a part-time player at the worst possible time for fantasy. We love Jacoby Myers, but again, it is a Brock Bowers led. Brock Bowers got 150 targets. Myers, he's solid, but I like Diggs here. This is why I like taking Alvin Kamara, because in this range, there's a bunch of guys that I like to bet on bounce backs. Stephon Diggs, Michael Pittman. I mean, Michael Pittman, led the team in targets last year with a broken back. 140 and 150 targets the year before.
It's insane.
Cooper Kupp, again, another team that uses the fullback. Clint Kubiak's going to use the fullback and blocking tight end. It's going to be highly consolidated for Cooper Kupp and JSN as well. Yeah. I mean, that's why I like going RB. I like getting at least 2 RBs early because I know in my back pocket I got guys like Diggs and Pittman and Kupp and so on. So let's grab Diggs here. We'll plan on, and again, we could even hypothetically say, okay, we'll draft 2 quarterbacks, Drake May and then somebody boring like a Jared Goff.
Which we could certainly do.
Because if you start your first 10 rounds, people will say, oh, you can't draft 2 tight ends, you can't draft 2 quarterbacks. If you start your first 10 rounds with just running backs and wide receivers, of course you can. You certainly can.
I totally agree. All right, so we took Diggs, and after Diggs, it went Brian Robinson. Which, by the way, have you seen that? I'm sure you've seen that video of the dude that goes up number 1 overall and takes Brian Robinson instead of Bijan Robinson.
Brutal, yeah.
Oh, incredible!
That's crazy.
Incredible, so good. But okay, Brian Robinson, Debo, Baker, Ricky Pearsall, Dak Prescott, Jalen Warren, Jordan Mason, and Najee Harris. Najee is an interesting one because Detroit just love to run the ball. I just don't know how good Najee Harris actually is as a running back. So, back to back 1,000-yard seasons, And the crazy thing is, Hampton is a big back. He landed on one of the few teams that actually have a bigger back.
What are
which
the
is true.
odds, right? Like, what are the odds that you 226-pound back lands on a team with a guy that's like 235? You know, it's just so annoying for fantasy, but I get it. And then QB, let's see, is Drake May even? He's probably not even on the screen yet. It's probably still
Probably
like
not.
30 and
He is.
there
He's
he is.
fourth here, but Fields, Purdy, and Herbert.
Yeah. So do we want to go tight end here, or roll the dice one more time? I'm very happy getting Engram, but like Mark Andrews here would be the prudent play.
I would agree. Mark Andrews would probably be the prudent play. I would say if we have our hearts set on Drake May, it's probably going to have to be this round or next round. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do that, but like if we want a guy at quarterback, we probably can't wait too long.
Okay, let's take Andrews here and then May.
Now, then again, if you scroll down here, right, you can see on the left. I don't know how many people can see on the right side here, but it will tell you the team needs for these guys without having to do all this research.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So 3 guys after us need tight ends.
Yeah.
So you would think here in the 8th round.
Let's start the tight end run then. Let's take Andrews. Andrews also much better in half PPR than he is other formats because he's so good versus man-to-man. There's a reason why he, like, if you look at the last 5 years, he has the most end zone targets, than any tight end in stock.
Yeah.
So we'll take Andrews here.
All right, Andrews it is, and let's see if that tight end run actually does happen.
It's so easy to get tight end these days. See, of course it doesn't.
0 tight ends got taken between our picks, but we overthought ourselves. So we went Jaden Reed, Travis Etienne, Jacoby Myers, Javonte Williams.
The only players I really like that went are sorry, keep rattling.
No, go ahead. It doesn't really.
Matthew Golden went. Emeka Egbuka is a very interesting hype pick now with the guys being hurt. Cooper Kupp went. Oh, I also like Tank Bigsby. I think Tank Bigsby has a real shot at leading that backfield. He doesn't have the highest upside because he doesn't catch as well as the other guys. It could be split, but I think he was the most efficient runner. And if Liam Cohen does what he did last year with Bucky Irving, he's going to start the most efficient runner. So I think Tank Bigsby has a real chance to start. And it's like we could have gotten the Engram here, which would have been fine. But again, Engram is more of a full PPR player than a half PPR player.
Right.
Last year, Engram had he didn't have he got hurt the first week. He came back and played 8 games. He didn't score fewer than 7 PPR points in any of those games. Very safe, but maybe a little boring player. But
last year you were talking about Bigsby. Last year I was all in on Travis Etienne last year, like all in. Like I drafted him in every league, and he was awful. And so now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a timeout on Jacksonville running backs this year.
He was coming off back-to-back 1,400-yard from scrimmage seasons. So, like, there's no indication that might happen. And that's the thing. That's what you have to be. That's why always be wary of changes in the front office and changes in the coaching staff because they have no allegiances. Doug Peterson loved Travis Etienne, but Liam Cohen came in and did his own thing. So always be careful with that. That's why we love Jamar Chase at 1 overall so much is that nothing's changed. Everything is the way it's supposed to be, the most certainty possible. So let's take a peek at the wide receiver. We'll take a peek at quarterback first. All
right. So quarterback is the exact same. Actually, it's not the exact same because who the heck was?
Oh, Purdy went.
Let's roll the dice. Drake May's still 4th on this list.
We can roll the dice one more time here.
Juwan Jennings, Chris Godwin, Khalil Shakir, and Josh Downs. No, thank you on Josh Downs. Probably not on Juwan Jennings.
This is where I'm taking Michael Pittman. I'm willing to reach a little bit on Pittman. And boy, these running backs are. See, this is where like if we had gone with RJ Harvey and Tyrone Tracy, this is where you take a Rashad White, where you look at it, it's like, okay, he offers a floor. He had 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year. He's going to play on pass downs and help out to some degree. And we just need a body. But like, I don't like drafting guys from this range with the build we have. We have 3 running backs. We're going to move on.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of feel that way. Like if there's a guy you like late, if there's a running back down the list that you like late, you want to take later on, fine. But I'm not reaching for a running back here, especially when I have playable wide receivers. Like I don't love, but I like Chris Godwin. I don't know when he'll be back. I like Godwin. I like Shakir overall this year. But I agree with you in this situation that Michael Pittman, I'm shocked that he's not on this list, to be honest with you.
People get the thing is there's I wrote an article recently. It's on my profile, or type in fantasy alarm. It's fantasy football fallacies, right? And there's a false choice fallacy. What that means is there's people are creating this decision that you have to make that's black and white in their eyes, right?
Mhm.
If you like Josh Downs, you can't like Michael Pittman. And if you like Michael Pittman, you can't like Josh Downs. And that's the false choice. When in reality, both players could be good. Both players could be bad, right? Like
Right.
we don't. And what happens is it pushes them both down in ADP, because you say to yourself, "Oh well, I can't take Pittman until someone takes Downs. I can't take Downs until someone takes Pittman," right? And it's like, and it pushes them down, and we get to benefit from that. So I don't mind drafting Downs or Pittman, but I have Pittman ahead. Both players can be good, but Josh Downs has never played a full snap share. He's a part-time player. Even last year when Pierce and Pittman were hurt, it was Adonai Mitchell that played in that role, not Downs.
Right.
So yeah, I like Pittman here. This is where we'll reach a little bit. And
I
Chris
also
I just want to mention people out there, the way you treat Chris Godwin and Brandon Ayuk, whether or not your league has an IR spot, drastically changes that.
Yes.
Because if you have an IR spot, you can draft Godwin, move him to that slot, and then get another player immediately off the waiver wire. And that is humongous. I just posted actually on my Twitter a list of the guys that are eligible right now. If you're listening to this right now and you have Darren Waller, move him to an IR spot right now, because he just got activated and they're going to move him. You can add another player right now before they switch that. But it's Godwin, Joe Mixon, Najee Harris is on the pup list with his eye, and Ayuk, and you can put those guys in there and give yourself an extra roster spot, a free player.
It's great. I mean, that's just such great advice. And it is true. Like if you have those IR spots, which most leagues do, some leagues don't, but most leagues do. If you have those IR spots, you need to be taking advantage of them, especially when, Chris Godwin might be ready to start the season, but he's on the pup list right now. So it doesn't matter if he's ready to start the season. Put him on IR now. Pick someone else up, because once cut downs happen and trades happen and all that other stuff, like who knows how things are going to shake out. And the guy you pick up off the waiver wire might end up being an RB2 on a team, might end up being a wide receiver 3 on a team. And that guy was just sitting out there in space and no one thought to get him because, it was like, I didn't know that they were going to use him, and so it was like, just take advantage of it while you can. So I totally agree with you. All right, let's take Pittman here. Go Pittman, and we're going to draft him. Okay.
Oh, if Drake May comes off the board right now, we're doing this stupid little thing, and I'm nervous that someone.
He did not. Tajay Spears, Chris Godwin, Shakir. Bro, this guy, Krosky Merritt. Okay, yeah. I like Krosky Merritt, but I feel like people have lost their minds on him. I get it, but and suppose they're trying to trade Brian Robinson Jr. And if that's the case, then maybe but I don't know. I don't know how good he's going to be his first year.
Where he just went, where he's being ranked and where he just went, that's where he should go if Brian Robinson gets traded.
Right.
We're already assuming that it's going to happen, and they might just figure things out, and then he's the running back 3. Right.
Yeah. And I know people are taking a little bit of a risk because Basil Tootin goes here at 10-1. Jaden Blue goes at 10-3.
Yeah. That's where you take those risks. But keep in mind, folks, that the running back coach is the one that decides who plays. And the running back coach for the Commanders is Anthony Lynn. And he is best friends with Austin Eckler. They spent so much time together in the Chargers. People think that Austin Eckler is just going to go away. He's going to play too. It's going to be a rotation to some degree, right? The whole reason Eckler is there is because he personally knows the running back coach. So if you think he's just going to go away, you might be mistaken.
Right. I would agree.
So we were able to pick 9 running backs and wide receivers. We took a tight end already, Mark Andrews, who's rock solid. This is the part of the draft where I actually would consider double tapping quarterback. I know we're going to do 10 rounds, so we'll take Drake May, but how hard would it be for us to take May and then also take someone like Goff or Herbert, who's very safe? And now we've given ourselves a shot at upside on top of, having somebody in case things don't look great.
I love it. So let's take May and let's just see what happens after the 10th round. And then we'll kind of get into a discussion too about some sleepers that you may have and whatnot as well. But
there's the tight end run.
There's the tight end
waiting
run.
for that tight end run to happen.
Yep. So Jerome Ford, who we'll see. But here's Eckler in the 10th, Josh Downs, Ayuk, Darnell Mooney, who I just like. People like him every year. I don't get it. Ray Davis, Keon Coleman, Braylon Allen is going wicked late this year. I know he struggled a little bit last year at the end of the year, but like he has a chance to take some of those carries. I don't know. Again, I think 11th round is not a terrible spot for him.
Of course.
And you got that tight end run of Jonnu, Ingram, and Tyler Warren. Getting Evan Ingram in the 11th round that's real nice.
That's why I wait on tight end, man. And again, even if I miss Ingram, then I'll just draft two. I'll take like Hunter Henry and Dalton Kincaid. And now I have the old yin and yang tight end. I got Henry as my safe guy. I got Kincaid as my upside guy, and I'm fine with it because at that stage you're getting them in round 12 and 13.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's why I say you can create so much leverage with the tight end position this year because there's so many good players available late. Evan Ingram, man, awesome.
Yeah. So to your point, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields, Jared Goff, Caleb Williams are also on the board right now. So I think taking Herbert here, and again, I'm not gonna necessarily take him, but I think taking Herbert here makes a ton of sense because, like you say, you've insulated your pick of Drake May. You're shooting for the moon with Drake May. You're saying, I think he can be a top 5 to 10 fantasy quarterback, right? And if he can't do that, you've drafted a guy in Justin Herbert that's extremely safe underneath him, right? And I think even Jared Goff is not a terrible pick here because Goff's going to throw for a ton of yards too. And so you feel like the floor for Herbert and Goff is high enough that it balances out that risk that you use to take Drake May.
Exactly, man. That's exactly the move. I do it at quarterback and tight end. Easiest thing ever. I actually have in the Fantasy Alarm draft guide, if anyone wanted it, what I do is I do these dynamic tier, I call it, which is I do one tier of quarterback and tight end I call standalone. If you draft one of these guys, you don't draft a second one. Mark Andrews, you get them, we don't need another one. After that, I break it into two columns, safe and upside. And we call it yin and yang tight end. I have everybody color-coded in there based on whether I like them in ADP or not as well. So if you want to get the Fantasy Alarm draft guide, that's available now. And you actually, if you use promo code Cooper, 25% off. So pretty good deal right now for folks.
And listen, I think that this is one of the things that people talk about is that you don't need to draft two quarterbacks and you don't need to draft two tight ends, right? That's what everyone says. Don't draft two quarterbacks. Don't draft two tight ends. You don't need to do that. Except, and that's true, as you said, if you get one of those top guys, you don't. You're right. But if you don't get one of those top guys, to pick an upside guy and to have that, the yin and yang it's so perfect. Like to have a guy that is an upside guy and pair him with the safe guy, because if you hit on that upside guy, that's awesome. And if you don't, then you feel like, hey, I have this safe guy that I feel good about. And we're good. And yeah, I wasted a draft pick on Drake May or on, Caleb Williams or whatever, but I insulated that with a safe pick as well that isn't going to win me the league necessarily, but is going to keep me competitive at quarterback.
And the strategy doesn't stop with the draft because what I do is I just take that bench spot. The guy doesn't hit. We just drop him for the next upside play, right? Trey McBride didn't break out till week 7 when Zach Ertz got hurt. Jonnu Smith last year, the breakout from last year. His first, the way he started the season, 1 catch, 2 catches, 0 catches over the first, 3 of the first 4 games. Logan Thomas was tight end 26 through 6 weeks. When he broke out, he finished tight end 3. That's what we're doing. The goal isn't to have 2 tight ends all season. The goal is to find the breakout. And, that safe guy helps you get there. So definitely a strategy that we've been using for years to find these guys.
It's a great call. It's a great strategy. And really it's one of those things where, because the common knowledge in fantasy is don't take 2 of these guys. You don't need to roster 2 of these guys. And again, I understand where it's coming from, but you have to have that upside play because that makes when you have one of those upside guys, if you hit on it, it changes your entire roster.
In my Fantasy Fallacies article, I hit on exactly that under the fallacy called appeal to antiquity, which is appeal to tradition is what it's also called.
Yeah.
When you do something, because the only reason you do something is because that's the way it's always been done. Somewhere along the line, somebody said, hey, you only ever draft one tight end in a magazine in 2003. And since then, everybody's just done that. And guess what? We get crazy values on these guys that are going tight end 15, like Mark Andrews or Darren Waller when they broke out, because we're getting them before waivers. We're beating the waiver wire. That's the move. So I love the way that this team turned out, dude. Thank you so much for having me on too.
Absolutely. Folks, this is why he was the 2024 fantasy football writer of the year. Okay. This is why, because he's talking about these things that other people aren't and giving you an advantage over other people that aren't listening. And that's, come on now. Anyone like late that you're high on, that you're like, hey, I feel good about this guy being a late play, whatever position it's at, just like one of, 2 or 3 guys that you're like, hey, take a risk at this guy and pick in round 14 or 13.
For sure. At quarterback, I like May going like QB 16, 15. Also, keep an eye on JJ McCarthy. He'll probably end up on the waiver wire. Dude, if Justin Jefferson is going to be wide receiver 3 and TJ Hawkins is going to be tight end 5 and Jordan Addison goes off the board at even suspended at wide receiver like 30, that guy, he could pop. The conditions, and people hate when I say this, but the last time we had a quarterback that took over a playoff team that was full of Pro Bowl weapons from a Pro Bowl quarterback, it was Patrick Mahomes taking over for Alex Smith, right? Yeah. So that's out there. Dalton Kincaid is a sleeper pick. For again, you can get them like tight end 14, 15 sometimes. I also look at guys like Chiga Okonkwo. We're looking for anyone that could be a top 2 target on the team, right? For running back, if you click that running back tab, I really like the guy who's right at the top of the queue. This would be the guy that I would be picking next if we're going to keep doing this. Trey Benson. Not only do I think he's a good player, not only has James Conner said that Trey Benson's going to get more touches. Trey Benson said it, then James Conner said it. But James Conner has missed at least one game with injury in every single season that he's played in. Every single year he's missed at least one game. He just runs hard. He's that kind of guy. So I do like Trey Benson. I think Trey Benson could be – it's like what you're getting from Zach Charbonnet, a guy that has some standalone value and could have big upside if someone gets hurt. I think you get that from Trey Benson this year at a little bit of a cheaper cost. I like both players, but guys like Charbonnet and Benson are the guys I like to have on my bench because if you have a bye week, even if Walker's healthy, it's not the end of the world to start Charbonnet, right? But every time Walker gets hurt, Charbonnet scores 2 touchdowns.
Right.
And I think Benson could be that kind of guy too.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, at wide receiver, I already gave, guy Pittman's going like wide receiver 40 off like 50. Wide receiver 50. It's crazy. Like guys like that make it so easy. There's again, wide receiver is the toughest one to find like deep breakouts. Like the Puka Nakua's come around every once in a while, but he was he was steamed pretty far up. No homerism on the suggestion that maybe Kyle Williams could be a guy. Maybe Kyle Williams. I mean, I know the hit rate for the Patriots hasn't been good, but he could easily step in and just be the second best wide receiver after Diggs. And if we like May, we want to get an eye on some of those weapons. So
and we like Kayshon Boutte, but it's not Kayshon Boutte isn't good enough that I'm sitting here saying, well, Kyle Williams can't possibly get any reps because Kayshon Boutte's in front of him. Like, Kayshon Boutte's fine, but and I think in a full PPR league, just from a Patriots perspective, I think from a full PPR league, Pop Douglas is a good target late.
For sure.
Again, if you're drafting in a home league, you don't have an advantage because you're looking at Pop Douglas more than other guys, right? But I think in a full PPR league, there's a very realistic chance that Pop Douglas ends up with 90 catches this year, right?
Exactly.
And
he's the floor play. He's the floor play where it's like Douglas, if things don't go according to plan, Douglas is going to be a safe play.
Yes.
Kyle Williams, he's got that rookie upside, the kind of guy that could just come out of nowhere and run with it. It's like you got to kind of look at your team and decide what you need. If you're in a league with like 3 wide receiver spots and 2 or 3 flexes, Pop Douglas is going to be in your lineup every week.
Yeah.
If it's a 10-team league with 2 wide receiver spots and 1 flex, then just shoot for the moon. Just go for crazy high upside picks because it's not that hard to fill 2 wide receiver spots.
I agree. All right, our team before we end this, our team: Drake May, Jonathan Taylor, R.J. Harvey, Malik Neighbors, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Mark Andrews, Aaron Jones, and then on our bench is Stephon Diggs and Michael Pittman. And I mean, we're competing. We're competing for the playoffs for sure. That's a solid roster. Drafting out of the 8 spot, which is a spot that you have said you don't like. I don't love the 8 spot either. It's just it's far enough down that you're not getting one of those top tier players, but it's not far enough that we're getting the run, right? That we're getting that quick turnaround.
I want 7. I want an excuse to draft Christian McCaffrey. That's what I want. That's what I really want. I want the excuse, right? Because
I love it.
Like, I won't take him at 6, but I'll absolutely take him at 7. So
yeah,
it's my favorite spot.
There you go. I love it. All right, Coop, before I let you go, man, just we've mentioned a few times on here, let everyone know where they can, read you and see you and hear you and everything else.
Yeah, on Twitter at Coupe Fiasco right there. Also on Blue Sky and all that. You can check out all my work at Fantasy Alarm. I post a ton of stuff for free. If you like the free stuff, the draft guide has all my rankings, all my takes, and it's all you need. It's all you need. You can also hear me on Sirius XM channel 87, 6 to 8 p.m. weekdays, and also when the season starts, 10 to 11 a.m. answering everybody's questions.
Let's go.
Yes. The Fantasy Alarm has a YouTube channel and stuff too for a lot of our stuff. I'll be on at 1 o'clock today. We're going to do a DraftKings best ball draft. One of the big ones, $20 entry,
nice. Trying
to win big dog money. So we'll see you guys over there if you're hanging out.
Sick. Love it. All right. Well, thanks so much, Coop, for coming on. Appreciate it, man. And it's been a ton of fun.
Awesome, man. Dude, pencil me. I know maybe you want to rotate guests, but you can pencil me in for next year if you need me.
Listen, if you're in, then as far as I'm concerned, you're in for next year too. So
let's do it.
I love it.
Down. All right,
everyone, be good to each other and go Pats.